Well, music mogul Sean Diddy Combs was in federal court facing serious and very disturbing charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. His indictment unsealed yesterday morning by U.S. Attorney Damian Williams.
Sean Combs led and participated in a racketeering conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity.
Well, prosecutors allege Combs abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. The indictment goes on to allege, quote, as part of a pattern of abuse, Combs manipulated women to participate in highly orchestrated performances of sexual activity with male commercial sex workers. Joining us now, Eric Faddis, criminal defense attorney. Eric, welcome back. Spoke with you yesterday, obviously very informative and a very busy afternoon, and just a salacious 14-page indictment for those who haven't read it. Combs is denied bail yesterday, which was pretty obvious when you saw some of the charges. But why did the judge make the decision to keep him in custody overall, for people out there that don't understand why he wasn't released on bail like most celebrities do?
Sure, Chris. You know, it's kind of customary with charges of this gravity to seek pretrial detention, and that's often granted. You know, here another point the prosecution brought up was that Combs allegedly was engaging in witness tampering, was trying to obstruct the investigation. That was another reason the court kept him in custody while this case is going on, to not compromise the integrity of the proceedings.
So prosecutors yesterday were making a reference to R. Kelly, Jeffrey Epstein, whatnot. The difference between this and those cases would be?
You know, I think that there is certainly some overlap. I think that this Time's Up movement has sort of caused folks to take a closer look at these types of individuals. You know, I think that there isn't a ton of difference. Diddy is facing serious prison time, just like those folks. And I think that all eyes are on this case throughout the nation.
I think we all understand the seriousness of these charges, but what really stood out to you here, and what kind of punishment is he potentially looking at?
Sure. So especially on the first and second charges, the RICO charge and the sexual assault by force, fraud, or deception, he is looking at decades in prison. One thing that certainly stood out is that was something the prosecutor said yesterday in press conference. Diddy did not do this on his own. There are multiple allegations of kidnapping, multiple allegations of arson. Diddy's not running around lighting things on fire. There are other folks involved, and we are likely to learn more about that in the coming weeks and months.
Yeah, I was going to say, I guess, you know, he runs with a huge network of people, and always had a large group around him. You've got to imagine that there are a lot of other people that are pretty nervous right now that they're going to be tied or brought into this scandal, I guess is the best word to describe, salacious scandal.
Yeah, without question, Chris. Another thing the prosecutor said is we are not done. They indicated this is sort of the beginning, not the end of this huge legal saga. There are Diddy affiliates who are rumored to have associations with some of this activity. There is allegedly video evidence that might depict some of these folks. So we could see some high-profile individuals either being charged or coming out of the woodwork as government witnesses.
The raids of his homes in Los Angeles and Miami, netting AR-15 assault rifles, high-capacity magazines, video evidence of these freak-offs that they kept referencing yesterday, these sexual escapades and whatnot. What does this mean as far as the case that's going to be prosecuted against Diddy?
It sounds like the government has really been diligent and thorough in their investigations. There were multiple raids. There was a grand jury proceeding in New York where multiple witnesses testified likely. And so I think that this is a large-scale, comprehensive investigation that is really going to involve a lot of folks. It's not going to be done anytime soon, Chris.
All right, so let me ask you about today's proceedings. The appeal, obviously his attorneys are going to, who are vehemently defending him, are going to try to get him out on bail. Is there any chance a judge says, okay, well, unlike what I said yesterday, now I don't think you're a flight risk, and unlike R. Kelly or Jeffrey Epstein, there was no minors involved here, and I guess his attorney is trying to say there's no evidence of coercion. As bizarre as that may sound, I guess you'll try anything to get your client out on bail. What do you think the chances of this happening are?
I think it's terribly unlikely. You're going back to the same exact judge who's already made a decision on this yesterday. Diddy's team presented a $50 million bail package to try to convince the judge. That was not enough for the judge to believe that Diddy could be not a threat to the community outside of custody, and that he was not a flight risk. I don't see that order changing.
Incredible. Eric, great to talk with you once again. Thanks again. We appreciate you taking the time. Always great information.
Till next time.
And to read the full unsealed indictment, go to cbsnewyork.com. It's 14 pages long, but it's quite the read.